Thank you.
First, volunteering to do that.
Did you think it was spring when you got in the car or something?
You wouldn't spend so much time in the car. I just decided not to bring my Audi.
Because you got in the car too.
It might be warmer than the
Well, it's warm here, but the wind is always.
Can you see me?
Hey, honey.
Doesn't have to be.
On the camera.
They say,
Casket out, so 3 on each side. The second is the left turn, the side, and then the right arm. Face the first, back casket out. Stability is. Step in, face the first. Casket up on top of the right. Continue holding on as we go up to the grave. Please move, make your way into the tent. Lift the casket, watch your feet. Take the casket, place it up on top of the roller. Please make your way into the tent. Family, please be seated up front.
You sit there? Sit there? Who are we sitting on? Yeah.
Anybody need a program? Anybody need a program?
Where's Neil?
Do you want me to do any of the service for you?
No, we're just kind of all.
We're gonna wing it.
Winging
Do
it.
something different you've never seen before.
Well, I know my cousin Larry would have done it because he was a chaplain. But is there anyone else we're expecting? Because it's my grandmother Molly would say never make anyone who's on time late for a funeral.
Right.
No, Tom's freaking out.
used to provide heaters here at Shalom, propane heaters, but then they built a chapel. And they were like, we have the heaters.
You're gonna be told some story about
Why doesn't everybody put your cell phones to silent mode? Just push the little button in on top.
if she's calling.
Sure.
Is anybody online yet? There's 3 people online, by the way. 3 devices are online. Speak up, please.
Everybody who knows me knows that one of my favorite catchphrases, it could always be worse, you know, and thankfully the sun is out and we're here to pay tribute to Mom. And I just need to do a little anecdote because I know several people want to speak. The past year or so, on my way to our house on Saturday to visit her, I would stop at Hub's.
They gave you a hat?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was such a devoted consumer, you know, and I really believe that she survived most of the past few months because of chocolate milkshakes.
Oh.
And that's what they made. And as soon as I parked the car and I'd walk in, they'd already have the order ready because this was the routine, you know. So, in honor of, I told them on Saturdays from now on I'm wearing the Hubs hat. But I wanted to say something by way of, I think, a tribute to the family. Living a long life can be a blessing or a curse, depending on several factors. One's health, one's environment, one's resources, one's personal choices and challenges. But the most important factor is the support system around which we surround ourselves and upon which we rely as a family. As we have managed Mimi's challenges over the past several years, our small family has maintained a strong commitment to her quality of life and well-being. But these stresses would have been much harder to bear if not for the help, attentiveness, and professionalism of Sharleen's incredible caregivers. Fumi, Kenny, and Toyin. Always there, never missing a shift, and truly becoming an integral part of Sharleen's extended family. And for that, we are very grateful to you. But I need to acknowledge the person whose strength and resourcefulness I admire and have valued the most. My sister Susie's commitment, both to our dad's dying wishes and our mother's quality of life, has had no restrictions or boundaries. Since our father died over 30 years ago, Susie has given our mother support, encouragement, and a level of companionship that most daughters would struggle to achieve and fulfill. Susie has taken on responsibilities that I couldn't have done, nor would have wanted to do. And I respect her and I love her for that. And I hope our mother would feel the same gratitude, even if she couldn't articulate it when she was alive. Today, Mimi is reunited with our dad in mind, body, and spirit, and we, her family, are moving forward, sustained by experiences and memories from which we can learn more about ourselves and how to improve the quality of life for all people that we love. And I want to offer the opportunity to anyone else who would like to speak or share their thoughts. Sue?
I think we should go by age.
Yeah, we'll go.
How can I say this. Mark has held my hand since I was old enough to sit up. And I cannot think of anyone I would have rather walked this path with. We were in lockstep the entire way. There was never an argument or... So there's one time he wanted to take her to a nursing home, and I said, no, we can't do that. It's not in the plan. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We made memories that no one else will be able to know. Anyway, I promised all my friends that when I got here, I would say I did not think this day would ever come. Anybody who's been pregnant, once you're 9 months pregnant, you think you're going to be pregnant forever. And when people said, you know, at some point it's going to happen. No, I don't. I'm not sure. So, Mom, welcome to the neighborhood. First of all, I got you on the right side of the bed. Dad's on that side, you're on that side. I did that right. Now, there's going to be some complications going on here. Because let me tell you who I know here. And if you know others, let me know. Lou and Fritz are here. That's Dad's mother and father. Pauline and Alfred are here. Harriet and Jeanette are here. There's a dentist needed in the area. He's available. Nancy is across the way. Where's Annette? She's
across the
She's over there too. Merle is here. Is Larry here?
Yes.
I'm telling you. Harriet's here. Doris and Irv are here. So there are many more people here that are in the neighborhood than are sitting.
Alice, Jean, and Larry.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's I don't know what happens here at night, but it could be pretty substantial. I do want to thank Kenny and Toyin and Fumi. I would not have been able to live my life for the last 4 years without you ladies. I never, ever worried. No one ever said my car's not going to start. I can't come. I'm sick. Seki and Bookie, the backup crew, were there at a moment's notice. And I want to tell you, and those of you who witnessed it, Sharleen was not always easy. so, you know, Ryan was the good guy, Fumi's the bad guy. Kenny tried to waver between both of them, but you will always be part of my heart and my family forever and ever and ever. Okay, that said, I think most of you know this, but Mom's family was born and bred in Chicago. I think they might have even been here for the Chicago fire. Do you know that? Do you know? I don't know. Dina's like the historian. But not only born and bred in Chicago, but totally Rogers Park. Streets Lunt, Winthrop, Toohey, Sheridan Road. I understand that not Kenmore. And then the other thing is she did spend some time, I don't know if they lived in the Edgewater Beach Apartments or the Edgewater Beach Hotel, but for some period when she was young, they lived there. And she even had a nanny, and she called her nanny Bobby. So this was all happening in the 20s and 30s. Did you what?
I
Didn't know that, yeah. She went to field school. She went to Sullivan High School with Lloyd's uncle, Gene. Is it Larry's dad?
I'm not sure where Gene went. They were in Humboldt
No.
Park. I know that.
Oh, no, Gene went to Sullivan High School.
Okay.
They did.
Was that in Humboldt Park?
Rogers Park when he was in high school.
I don't think Gene would have gone
I
there.
have pictures. I have proof. Okay. Oh, and the other thing you might not know is, does anybody know what her sport was in high school?
Archery.
Archery. I have the bow. It doesn't work, but without the string on it. But her archery was her sport. Her father, Jerry, was a haberdasher. He worked in men's clothing, and her mother, Mildred, worked in a high-end jewelry store. I think most of the stuff I found was costume jewelry, but it was called Marx Brothers, and it was downtown, and that's what she did. And to say the least, and everybody knows this, it was a pretty contentious relationship with Mildred. So when they get back together, wherever it is, I hope they make up and everything goes on.
Is Mildred married here too?
No, she and Jerry are in Florida. Sharleen, you might know this too, she always wanted to be a nurse. And she gave up that dream to marry my father and support him and work so he could go to school and be successful in whatever he did. In the late 50s, she and Dad decided to form their own business as manufacturers representatives for electronic companies, and as Mark refers to it, is the fourth child. Now, our Ginsburg cousins know what the fourth child is because there was one in your family too. So what that means is that we shared both of them, but primarily her, with this business. It was a home-based business before nobody worked at home. What was that about? Home-based business, and people didn't think she worked because she did it from the house. So they thought that she was doing, whatever the ladies in the 50s were doing, but she was busy working and she was processing invoices and answering the phone and keeping the books and keeping track of Dad and completely running that business. He was the personality, she was the person behind the scenes. An interesting point, Mark will remember, manufacturers reps have regional sales managers. And the regional sales managers travel around the country to spend time with their reps, going and calling on distributors and whatever. And at that time, usually the man, they have dinner put up. My mother invited them for dinner. Mark, how many times did we sit around the dining room table with Uncle Arthur or Uncle Irv or Uncle whatever? These are all sales managers from all over the country.
And we thought they were related to us.
We didn't know.
You probably saw them more than
dinner.
family.
And think about this, those of you who have children. Cooked a dinner, and we sat at that table and we ate with them. It wasn't like they put us to bed or put us in another room. We were part of, and these guys became part of our family. Isn't it? Who does that? Totally, who does this? Okay, so not like she wasn't busy enough, but she was a brownie leader. We learned to knit together. She was a Girl Scout camp counselor, and her specialty was, and her camp name was Charlie. Now, I want to tell you about that just because I don't know if anybody ever went to camp. You go, you have a good time, your parents are there, you do what you want. No. I had to be perfect. I was the counselor's daughter. I had to be the example for all other campers for how they were supposed to act when they were at camp. Not like there was enough to do, but she was the district cookie captain for Girl Scout cookies. So the way it worked was there would be orders, hundreds and hundreds of boxes. Our house smelled like mint for months. And then people would come and pick up, different troops would come and pick up their orders from the distribution center, which was our house, and she was the cookie captain. In high school, there was something called combined studies. I don't even know what it was. Mark did it. And
History and English together.
But there were a parents group.
Yeah.
So Mom and Dad and Mark, they did whatever they did in combined studies, spent a lot of time at school. But the other thing is, you guys don't know this either, but when we were in high school, our principal's name was William Schreiner. And for our events, there was a mascot, and the mascot was called Ma Schreiner, and it was Mark. And he dressed up like a woman.
Well, that explains a lot.
Until recently.
He dressed up like a woman. I don't know if he still has the outfit, and he was like the mascot for the cook, whatever we were selling or whatever we were doing. And Mom and Dad supported that. And the other thing, I don't know if any of you had it, we had the principal over for dinner. We used to have our teachers, remember in elementary school, come for lunch. I don't understand, but anyway. Okay, so everybody here had a unique relationship with my mother. And everybody here has a story to tell. Neil and I were just talking about when she used to give him medicine when he had an ear infection. He didn't like the medicine, so she would put him on the counter and give him an Andes mint and let him unwrap it. So as soon as she got the medicine in his mouth, he could pop the mint into his mouth. So we all have stuff that did. Okay, so what I want to tell you about me. I think I think I gave Sharleen the opportunity to be the girl and the woman and the mother that she always wanted to be and didn't have a chance to be. As a result, I was her protege, and I was groomed from a very young age into how to act, look, what have you. And the fact that I became a nurse, and there's somewhere in the archives of the stuff we've got, there is a paper that I wrote when I was 6 years old and a picture. And it says, I want to be a nurse. My name is Susie. I want to be a nurse. I am only 6 years old, but I already know. So it happened at a very, very young age. So who did she create in this game? Although I wear a lot more makeup, do a lot more hair, and wear a lot more jewelry, but anyway. She made the nurse. She groomed the caretaker. She showed me what compassion could be. She's very loving, not demonstrative, but a deep love that you show through actions versus words. Incredibly organized. I mean, my underwear drawers had to be perfect. I became neat, clean, prepared, my leadership skills, and my willingness to be responsible. Those are all things that I was trained to. I think she did a good job. It all worked. It's worked for everybody around here, so we're good. The other thing I think you all know, and the kids would probably get this even more, is I routinely responded to what I call her Spanish Inquisition. Regardless of the situation or circumstance, where are you going, what time you're going to be home, how long you're going to be there,
Who are you gonna be
who's
with?
taking you. I mean, it was to the point. When Adam moved into his apartment, I offered to outfit the kitchen and the bathroom and whatever, and she went through the whole thing. So, well, did you remember this? Did you remember this? Go through the whole thing, pots and pans or whatever, until she got, did you remember a dictionary? I'm like, what does he need a dictionary for? This is his first apartment. So she had to find something I might have forgotten. It was the dictionary. I traveled all over the country for, 13 years. When I would call her to say goodbye, she'd say, did you unplug the coffee pot? Seriously. So at some point, I think these qualities benefited just about everybody who's in this tent and whoever is listening. When we started doing the funeral planning, which was September, Thanksgiving, we had a family meeting and said who's going to do what and how's it going to work. I thought about who is this woman, and what would I say about her if I had to describe her to somebody else? And I found it. And I think you guys are going to agree. Sharleen was truly a force of nature. If you look it up, it just gave me a chill. Sorry, Mom. Force of nature is a person or an entity characterized by their incredible energy, charisma, and determination, making her hard to ignore or resist, and in essence, she signified someone who was powerful and unstoppable up until the end. She was a passionate, smart woman with a quick wit and who is unforgettable, who has made a lasting impression on everybody here, everybody she knew. So, we did it, Mom. Anybody?
Feels like we're about to give a speech. A million feelings, 1,000 thoughts, hundreds of memories of you. It's hard to put into words the life and death of a loved one who has been with you since day one. For the first 15 years of my life, there was no Mimi without Papa. You came as a team, and you both were always present during birthdays, holidays, game nights and sleepovers with the cousins, museum trips into the city, House on the Rock, which was very memorable, family dinners, graduations, and always gathering at 8631 East Prairie Road when family came into town. You wrote letters to me during the first couple of summers I went away to overnight camp in Michigan, and in those letters you shared about your archery days when you were a kid. I didn't know you had an athletic bone in your body. You were a very private person, and I was a very curious kid, so you do the math. You tolerated my questions and wonderings about you when you were younger. After Papa died, you were more open with me about the memories you shared with him, the business you ran together, repeatedly shared the same memories over and over again about Papa and how much he loved his family and watching his grandchildren grow and learn. I think this was your way of keeping him alive, keeping his memory alive. You also shared the dreams you had together about traveling to Italy one day, but you both never made it there. One of the many unspoken lessons I learned from you: take the trip. Don't wait. Take all the trips now while you can. When I became an adult, I would come and pick you up because you wanted to go for a drive. It was like driving Miss Daisy, but you always sat in the passenger seat, and we had no clear destination in mind. You liked cruising the neighborhood, and during the holidays, you enjoyed going to Saginaw to look at the Christmas lights and sing holiday songs on the radio, reliving memories we had together from when Papa was still alive. There were many more years where you supported me in my various jobs and careers and master's degrees, despite the fact that I'm not 100% sure you always fully understood what I did for a living, but you loved me nonetheless. Mimi, you were a complex individual with many layers, as we all are. I've come to learn that the relationships within our family system, of where I have felt deep love, there was also deep pain and suffering. Sharing your feelings and being vulnerable did not come easy for you. Your strong will, independence, and crystal clear ideas about what you wanted your ending to look like was fiercely important to you, and it was a fight just to keep you safe. But eventually, in my eyes, you gave in and softened. During one of my visits over the past summer, when walking was no longer an option for you, you were being wheeled back to the blue bedroom, and you turned to me and said, "Do you want to see my bedroom?" as a way of asking me to stay a little bit longer. It was the sweetest request, and of course I said I would love to see your bedroom. You came to accept and embrace being cared for by family and those who became family, which is all that we ever wanted for you. As your world continued to shrink, we continued to find ways to make sure you are comfortable. I brought you a stuffed animal to hold, and over the weeks and months, it became like a security blanket for you. You really welcomed me into your world, and I was happy just sitting there with you. Looking at photographs together, the conversation was difficult. Feeding you, stroking your hair, kissing your forehead, your smiles when words became hard for you to say, playing music while you dreamt, holding your hand, the last time I held your hand. You gave us so much time to say goodbye to you, and I will forever be grateful. I love you and I'll see you in my dreams.
What she said. And when I come to the end of my journey and I travel my last weary mile, just forget if you can that I ever frowned and remember only the smile. Forget unkind words I have spoken. Remember some good I have done. Forget that I ever had heartache. And remember I've had loads of fun. Forget that I've stumbled and blundered and sometimes fell by the way. Remember I have fought some hard battles and won near close of the day. Then forget to grieve for my going. I would not have you sad for a day. But in summer, just gather some flowers and remember the place where I lay. And come in the shade of evening when the sun paints the sky in the west. Stand for a few moments beside me and remember only my best. The recent times I came to visit, I came knowing I would be just sitting with you in silence, knowing there would be no conversation, knowing there would be no questions about work, about Emmerich or Ma'ani or Toby. It felt like sometimes you didn't know who I was, or you didn't know I was there. But then you would look at me and smile, and I realized you did. I often wondered, and still do, what you were experiencing, who you might be meeting and talking to, what thoughts were going through your head as you were approaching this new and unfamiliar terrain. And though we will never really know, I feel like you are in good company. And there's a particular special someone who I know has been very patiently awaiting your arrival. Rest well, Mimi, we love you, and we will always remember you and mention your name. Thank you everyone for sharing your insights and feelings and there are things that I learned today and Mom, in no particular order, I will remember and know that I have so much love and gratitude for you for welcoming me into the Bermann family many times over. The first time is when Mark and I got engaged and both of our families came together as one. We would have dinners together, we would plan together, and that was very special. The second was when both of my parents were gone, you and Deb said that I was not alone, and I still had parents to support me, which both of you did. The third was when Mark and I divorced, and you made it a point to let me know that I was still an important part of the family. You were an example for what it looked like to be a hardworking, responsible, strong, determined, and independent woman. You showed your love by having family and friends over together for food, laughter, and conversation. I remember having a private tutorial with you on how to make your famous tomato sauce, meat sauce, and lasagna. She never wrote anything down. She just tossed ingredients in, and I said, wait, I need to write how much oregano you're putting in, and she allowed me to do that and write things down. I might have the only recipe on paper, I don't know. And then another time, you showed me how to make the best brownies. How you put the 2 sticks of butter in the bottom of the pan, and then you put the chocolate on the top, and so that it would melt, which I totally followed for a very long time. I loved our dinner dates, and chance to catch up with each other, whether she cooked a 3-course meal for me, and especially we ate salmon together at home or going out to eat, and you especially loved eating Chinese takeout. And then it was mentioned already, and most important, everyone knew your love for anything children. And I always remember that no matter when you came over, do you need anything to eat? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? And she always made sure that food and drink were offered. I remember as I became a first-time mother with Dina, and we were giving her a bath, and she showed me what to do. She calmed me down when Dina was crying, and you were always Mimi Shar from the very beginning. There were many different ways that you supported all of us, and I remember Papa and you coming to all of the auditoriums that we were dancing. You were always in the audience and you were taking pictures. Now, we never saw those pictures until late, but she had them nicely put together, and we did get all those pictures. I remember a special time that she and I shared going to the hospital after Monty was born, and she and I sat together holding Monty and just talking and being with our new grandson and great-grandson. She loved to read and always shared by giving me more books than I ever had time to read. Here, take more books. So I always love those little things, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of other things, but Mom, you're a strong woman. A strong woman knows she has strength enough for the journey, but a woman of strength knows it is in the journey where she will become strong. When pain, I don't want to go there yet. There's, for many other reasons, I will remember you. At the rising of the sun and at its going down, I will remember you. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, I will remember you. At the opening of the buds In the rebirth of spring, I will remember you. At the blueness of the skies and the warmth of summer, I will remember you. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, I will remember you. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, I will remember you. As long as I live, you too will live. When I am weary and in need of strength, I will remember you. When I am lost and sick at heart, I will remember you. When I have joy and crave to share, I will remember you. When I have decisions that are difficult to make, I will remember you. When I have achievements that are based on yours, I will remember you. As long as I live, you too will live. And lastly, when pain and fatigue were your companions, I hope there was room in your heart for strength. When your days and nights were filled with darkness, I hope the light of courage was there. I hope with your suffering you were able to dissolve fear. Renew within you a calm spirit of trust and peace. Continue to love and care for yourself on your journey and bask in the love that surrounds you. Mom, just when you thought your world was over, you transformed and now have become a beautiful butterfly. Love you.
That was also short. Everybody had a different interpretation of the movie. People knew her in their own ways at different times in their life and under different circumstances. But I'll always choose to remember her in the ways that I knew her to be. Sitting at the table with you, playing card games, keep scrambling. Eating ice cream.
Lots of ice cream.
Those moments matter more than any thought or plot she could have had. And that's the memory I always keep. So,
You all know who I am. My mother and your father were siblings. So, I haven't seen Aunt Charlene in several years. So, in the before times, I have tons of memories. We would pile, my two brothers and I, and my parents would pile in our car and drive from Cedar Rapids, Iowa to Skokie, Illinois, every summer. That was our family vacation. Many, many years of doing that. And Aunt Charlene was, to me, always the most nurturing, happy, funny, that's what an aunt is, I guess, but kind of almost more like a grandma, because Grandma Fritz wasn't really there that much.
She was no fun. No.
What?
No
No
fun.
fun. That's right.
No fun. Yeah, yeah. But Aunt Charlene was fun. And she had dogs, and she would play with us. And Susie and Mark, you too. You were like on a pedestal with us. You were like fun, and we just always loved coming to visit. I wish we lived closer. And I just had this vision of Charlene and Mike and both of my parents now, Pauline and Alfred, and even Uncle Harry and Antoinette, and who's Aunt Charlene's really good friend, Frank, I think was
Harriet Frank.
Harriet
I think she's here
yes.
too.
I remember her too. Just like visions of going to the house and walking back and forth between Pauline and Alfred's and their house. They're pretty close. Going to the chicken in the basket, the building with the handle on the top, the roof was a handle.
That chicken shop.
What was
Not
it?
paper place, that's it.
Chicken place. Fire engines back and forth a lot. It was always be careful crossing the street because fire engines were coming by. Anyway. Rest in peace, Andrew.
I know this is getting long. I just have
Oh, no,
a couple of quick remembrances and a phrase. All right, so we would always come in, and typically we would stay with Pauline and Alfred. Well, at some time there wasn't enough room, so I was sleeping with Jimmy in his bed, and it was all new to me. I was used to going to Sharleen and Mike's and for fun and playing, but sleeping over at Pauline's night, so I couldn't get to sleep. And Jimmy was snoring, or he was mean to me, or whatever. One of those two things. And Sharleen would come in and check and see me still awake, so she had me come into their bedroom. And yes, Mike was on that side, Sharleen was right, and I sat. She said, "Come on, sit up with me." So Mike must have been asleep, right? And she pulled out a book and started reading one fairy tale after another in all of the voices. And someone mentioned a puppet. She was a puppeteer.
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, she made all the voices. And as soon as I thought she was done reading, she said, "Let's read one more." She wanted to make sure I was going to go to sleep. Wonderful experience. Turning kind of a very uncomfortable time with a cousin that I didn't really know to just lovely. All right, so years later, you mentioned her archery. Well, she could cut. She aimed really well. I was in a relationship with a woman 6 years older than I, and I was questioning the whole thing. And she must have gotten an earful from my parents, so Sharleen was all ready to make that final cut. And it worked really well. We talked. We were all going to a restaurant. I rode with Sharleen and Mike, and Mom and Dad drove their own car. And she started questioning me about this girlfriend of mine. And my answers would come out, and she would take me a little further in, and she enabled me to make the decision to end that relationship.
With the bow and arrow.
I wasn't sure about it. Yeah. And obviously I'm remembering it, I'm telling you this, but it was an important help, a catalyst for me to make a decision and to be confident in making that decision. And the phrase that I always remember her saying is, "As I say." And whatever conversation was going on, she would always come back to, "Well, as I say," to wrap up or to emphasize what she already said. But it's something that I've never heard anyone else say. As I say.
I think we're. Anybody else? No.
My cousin Larry would have, he was a chaplain, and he would have done a service here, so I'm going to just do one little part of it. Larry and I both worked with a rabbi named Pavel Slavensky, and Pavel used to have a deep baritone voice. He was a cantor at Temple Sholem, and he actually was born in Yugoslavia, and he survived the Holocaust by volunteering and joining up with the Allied Forces. And he rode a motorcycle throughout Europe, passing messages around. Amazing life. And he later became the rabbi on the island of Curacao. When I knew him, he was already like 80 years old and had a 16-year-old daughter who was just an amazing guy. And he would always say, ladies and gentlemen, do you realize what a privilege it is to be here today, to be able to say some nice words about this Jewish lady? He said, I didn't have this privilege. Hitler took my whole family from me and I don't even know where they're at. And it suddenly makes you realize that the funeral itself, it's a privilege. And it's something that it's not common. You see a family, a Jewish family, that everybody seems to really care for each other and love each other and get along. And, you know, we realize as we grow in our intellect that just as our birth was involuntary, our death is inevitable. We hope for a full life. Certainly sounds like, I couldn't help but think, you know, I've been at so many funerals. There's a lady, I can't remember her name, but her son's a waiter at Morton's. I always see him, I always ask for him, and she was a Boy Scout leader. She had a son instead of a daughter, so she actually, he didn't grow up with a father, so she was the leader of the Boy Scouts and this entire, especially for disabled children, this bus came full of people with their Boy Scout satchels. Pablo would always do this one poem, and I think it would probably be appropriate, something your mom might say. Shed not too many tears when I shall leave, especially you with whom I've smiled. I would not have you sorrowful nor sad, but joyfully recall the glorious companionship we've had, and thank God for it all. Say not that I have died, that this is death. Say that I enjoyed each mortal breath. My life was blessed in living. My life was blessed in giving. My life was a challenge, but I was happy so to live. My life's work was well done. My life's road was well run. And my life's crown was well won. But now I need to rest. Rest in everlasting peace. May the Lord our God watch over your soul forever. So there's two prayers that we say at every Jewish funeral. Usually it's the El Molei Rachamim, and then we usually wait till the casket is the lid is put in and the casket is covered. And I think one moment. This is a little bit of earth from the Mount of Olives, and it's tradition that we put a little bit of earth on top of the casket. So maybe the two of you could do that before they put the cover on, and then after they put the cover on, everyone will have a chance to put some earth in. And after you do that, I'll do the El Molei Rachamim. El Molei Rachamim, Sharleen Bermann, compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Sharleen Bermann, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence. Let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. Let us say amen. Why don't we go ahead and do the Kaddish at this time? You'll all stand, please. On the back of the cover, there's a transliteration. Yivkadal v'yivkadash shmei rabba v'yalan yivrak yirsei v'yamot v'asei hayachol v'yifun hayed v'altik l'Israel v'alam v'zman v'amei shmei rabba v'rak v'lam v'yamaya yisrak v'shmei v'ak v'yisar v'yisar v'lam v'yisar 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 Wasafem Masa, Damiran Biallah Biru Amen, Hishlam Rabin Shumai, Hayim, Yisrael, Amen, Oseh Shalom, Huya Seh Shalom, Yisrael, Biru Amen. The cover will be on in just another moment, and then we have these little pails. You can take a little scoop, put some into the grave, and then they will fill in the rest of the grave.
So immediate family, if you come up first. Up to 3 shovels of sand.
Stay behind the black pails for your safety.